Her hand runs up her body from thigh to breast, a gesture of presentation as if she were demonstrating a new product.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So American Gods is coming to HBO and it's going to be the new Game of Thrones, so I thought I'd do an awesome preview for it just to give you an idea of what's going on right now with the series. Neil Gaiman just gave a big update too, so I'll be including all the information that he talked about. For anyone that hasn't read it, American Gods is a novel by Neil Gaiman, so you should check it out before the series airs. You have a while, it's probably not going to be on TV for at least another year. Since most people probably haven't read the novel yet, I'll include spoilers in a future video. Be sure to subscribe to get that. But for now, crack your books to chapter 1. Here we go. So Neil Gaiman just gave a big update on American Gods. He said that he's moving through drafts of the script. They're still trying to finish it, so it's not quite done yet, and they haven't cast the show. But he did say that he was trying to include a lot of new material for the characters. The funny thing is that he went on to say that a lot of that new material had already been cut out. That's only because HBO is really trying to stick to canon, but I think that Neil Gaiman is going to be able to work in some really cool extra stuff. I'll talk about that later, though. The reason why it's funny that he just gave this big official update is that I just went to a signing for his new book, Ocean at the End of the Lane, and he didn't talk about it at all. He did talk about the sequel book to American Gods, which is going to deal with most of the new gods, but I'll talk about that in a future video. Most all this extra stuff is actually just character development for the Shadow character. He's the main character in the series, if you haven't read the novel, and he starts out in this one place, and we don't have a lot of information about how he got there or what his past is. And Gaiman is just trying to include some of that in the pilot script, so you might end up seeing it in that first episode. So right now, they're actually on the 4th draft of the script. They have 3 drafts already, so a lot of stuff has been cut out, put back in, and cut out again. They haven't cast the show yet, but what they planned is a 6-season arc and 10 to 12 episodes per season. So that's roughly about where Game of Thrones is. So I think HBO is honestly really comfortable with 5-6 seasons. Obviously, shows like True Blood are getting way, way more, so I think there's a really good chance we could get almost maybe 7 seasons of this, but we'll see. The really interesting thing about American Gods is that it's only one book, so if they have 6 seasons planned, what are they going to do? Well, like Neil Gaiman said, he's trying to include a lot of extra moments for characters, and if you remember Game of Thrones, it gives a lot of scenes to characters like Shay and Roz that didn't necessarily get scenes in the books. Personally, I think this is a really good thing that they include a lot of extra stuff on the show, just because writers go through this giant edit phase where a lot of things that they love might get cut out in favor of expediency. And naturally, since a lot of time has passed since American Gods was released as a novel, Neil Gaiman has probably thought of a lot of extra things that he wants to include in this sequel novel that we might even get to see on the show. If you've read the books, let me know in the comments which characters you'd like to learn more about, and if you haven't, just let me know what you think about shows like Game of Thrones and other TV shows, including extra moments for lesser characters. Personally, I think it's a really good thing, but let me know what you think. Just to give you some behind the scenes info on how HBO is thinking of this series compared to Game of Thrones, they're budgeting it at about $6 million an episode, so that's basically an extra $20 million per season over Game of Thrones. Why is that? Well, it's basically just because of the special effects budget. This is American Gods, so obviously these gods are going to be using their powers in really subtle ways, but obviously Game of Thrones has their own special effects sequences. They're just much fewer of them. I mean, those dragons ain't free. Another really cool thing about the creation of this American Gods series is that Tom Hanks is actually putting all of his production force behind it. That means that one of the most powerful producers in Hollywood is actually helping see this make it to the screen. So I think that the chances that we'll get 6 or 7 seasons of this are really, really good. I'll talk more about the stories that I think are going to be part of season 1 and what I think is going to happen in a future video. Be sure to subscribe to get it. They'll also probably have some cool casting news too. Send me your questions about what you want to know about Series 1, and I'll try to include it in that video too. In the meantime, you can click here to check out my big thank you video to all you guys for helping me get to 5,000 subscribers so fast. You're all amazing. Thank you so much. And you can click here to get the news about the Red Viper on Game of Thrones Season 4. They just cast the actor that's going to play him, so get excited. High fives. Thanks so much for watching. You guys are amazing.